This week I explore Victorian slang, the phrases that filled the streets, shops, parlours and pubs of the age, and what they reveal about the people who used them.
Welcome to Literally Victorian with your host, Matthew Lee Hanson.
Hello and welcome to the channel. My name is Matthew and I'm glad to be with you once again. I hope you're all doing very well indeed and getting into the festive spirit. Now, Victorian Britain, as we know, was a world of strict decorum, a society that prized manners, restraint and a carefully polished image. Yet beneath this surface of propriety, the Victorians developed a wonderfully colourful, inventive and sometimes downright cheeky vocabulary. Slang became a kind of social code, a playful rebellion against rigid expectations, a reflection of London's growing diversity. The 19th century was an age of enormous change. Cities expanded at unprecedented speed. Railways shrank distances. Working class culture blossomed. And newspapers, penny dreadfuls, music halls and novels gave language new platforms to spread. The Victorians adored wordplay. They coined expressions for everything: insults, compliments, flirtation, drinking, gambling, illness, fashion, and even death. Slang was a way to lighten a world that could often be dark. Much Victorian slang came from working class London, especially from the markets, docks, and the criminal underworld known as the rookeries. Here are just a few favourites. Butter upon bacon. Too much of a good thing. A Victorian way of saying you're overdoing it. Giggle mug. Someone who is permanently smiling. Nobody could blame me of that one. Generally said with suspicion, the Victorians didn't quite trust cheerful people. I'm okay there then. Knocked up. No scandal here. It's simply meant to be awakened, usually by a knocker-upper tapping long poles at your window. This is one of my favourites. Got the morbs. A feeling of melancholy or depression. A wonderfully melodramatic phrase, very Victorian. Cove. A fellow, a man, often used in criminal slang. Bobbies or peelers. Police officers, named after, of course, Sir Robert Peel. Slang grounded people in shared experience, whether in humour, hardship or everyday survival. Even well-bred Victorian ladies and gentlemen had their expressions, though theirs were a bit more delicate. To cast up one's accounts. A very polite way to say someone had vomited. That's a good one. Sawbones, a slang term for a surgeon, not entirely unfair in the pre-anaesthetic era. Flummoxed, confused, bewildered, and of course still commonly used today. Balm of Gilead, something said to soothe the emotions, often used ironically in conversation. To make a cake of oneself, which is to behave foolishly. These genteel phrases allowed the Victorians to maintain politeness while still expressing irritation, embarrassment or frustration. Victorian romance was governed by strict rules, but language allowed for subtle rebellion. Pitching the woo. Flirtation, sometimes inappropriately public. I'm smitten, still used today, meaning deeply infatuated. To spark someone, to court them. Cupid's measles, a humorous way to describe teenage infatuation. A rum doxy, a woman with a questionable reputation, slang from the lower classes. Slang gave lovers ways to navigate affection in a culture obsessed with propriety. The Victorians had a remarkable vocabulary for misbehaviour. For drinking, if you were half seas over, you were very drunk. A drop of the creature, alcohol. Blue ruin, cheap gin. For gambling, if you were putting your shirt on it, you were betting everything. A mug's game, your foolish or a hopeless pursuit. For crime, if you're a lag, you're a convicted prisoner. If you're a dip, you're a pickpocket. Flash houses, pubs frequented by criminals. The Victorians did not speak openly about vice, but they talked about it constantly. Victorian life was hard, and slang captured that too. For illness, the horrors, delirium from alcohol withdrawal. Consumptive, suffering from tuberculosis. If you're dicky, you're not feeling well. To collar the doctor was to seek medical help. For work, if you were grafting, you were working hard. A bone shaker, a rough carriage or bicycle. A ninny hammer, a foolish person in the workplace. I've seen some of those. Slang offered humour in a society where illness and labour were relentless. Writers also helped spread slang too. Charles Dickens peppered his novels with phrases like dustman's dog, mutton shunter, a policeman, gamp, an umbrella named after a character who used one. Lewis Carroll invented his own nonsense vocabulary, words like chortle and galumph, which eventually entered everyday English. Music halls spread slang faster than newspapers. A catchy song or comic routine could cement a phrase into public usage overnight. Victorian culture was stricter than ours, but their language was often looser, wilder and more inventive. Victorian slang reveals a society full of contradictions. Outwardly rigid, inwardly playful. Moralistic, yet fascinated by vice. Hierarchical, yet connected by a shared humour. Anxious, yet endlessly inventive. Slang allowed people to express frustrations, desires and observations that proper Victorian etiquette would never permit aloud. It was a release valve, a way to laugh at themselves and at the absurdities of life in a rapidly changing century. Victorian Britain left us more than railways, novels and industry. It left us a vibrant, surprising vocabulary, a reminder that even in the age of strict manners, the human impulse for humour and creativity found its way into everyday speech. Words like flummoxed, giggle mug and got the morbs still echo faintly in our language today. Whispers from a world that was far more lively, witty and irreverent than its polished manners might suggest. Thank you very much for watching. Please like or subscribe to help my little channel grow, and until next time, bye for now. And don't get the morbs.
you.